Hey guys, welcome into today's episode, how unfulfilling work creates self-sabotage. This is going to be a really interesting one because Scott, both of our previous work stories were pretty gnarly. What's up, man? How you doing?
Doing great, man. Yeah. And some of those previous work stories that I'm sure we'll get into today were self-sabotaging to say the least. So
Yeah.
stoked today though, man. My neck mobility is coming back. Chilling here in Whitefish, Montana. Had a great weekend mountain biking and looking
Beauty.
forward to today's episode. So
Yeah. Well, Sean and I hit the surf this morning and we're buzzing. So I
sick,
feel like I'm
dude.
kind of getting attacked by bugs out here, but that's all right.
Bug
Yeah,
life, right?
totally. Um, So what was when you think back, Scott, to the last job that you had where it was really unfulfilling? I mean, what was that like on a day-to-day basis for you? Or what can you just describe that work relationship you had with work?
Yeah. So before I even get to the point of complete unfulfillment and what felt like a professional catastrophe, I think I go through a couple of things here. So I tried to start this digital marketing consulting business, found out that wasn't for me. And I wanted to go back and work in corporate for a while. So I found a job working for a company that I loved. The brand is called Decline. It's like a surfing, snowboard, skier, skateboarder, outdoor brand. And I really resonate with it. I have a strong affinity for that brand. And I got a job working in digital operations, which was in total alignment with my expertise and my skills. And I thought this is going to be the perfect job for me. And I'll be connected with adventurous outdoor people. And it was epic for like maybe 3 weeks until the boredom settled in, the lack of stoke settled in because I had to go grind a 9 to 5 and I had to do what someone else wanted me to do rather than being able to dance to my own drum and really build something in alignment with my lifestyle and desire for freedom. So
Hey,
like three
Scott,
weeks.
Scott, can I
Yeah.
just ask,
Yeah.
because I think this is a really interesting thing. You were
Yeah.
trying to build, you were trying to build this consulting thing and it
Yeah.
didn't work out. And then what happened in your life where you had convinced yourself that Decline was, oh no, actually I want to go to Decline? Because I see a lot of guys that we talk to, dude, they have these dreams, this vision of maybe entrepreneur, right? But then
Sure.
they go, oh no, I found this job with benefits or whatever. Like what convinced you that that was the right decision?
Sure. Great question. So about 6 months prior to Decline, I quit my prior corporate job and I thought I'm going to go full-time consulting. And I landed some really good clients or clients paying me $4,000, $5,000 to do web projects for them. I was making some decent income. And I think I had 1 or 2 months where I just had shit income from my consulting business that I wanted to build. And so my brain reconvinced itself that what I really wanted and thought that I needed was a safe and secure job. I needed to go get something that was consistent. I needed to have the support of benefits and the corporate structure and a consistent paycheck and all this bullshit that, I mean, after this post-COVID world has settled in, we realize isn't actually all that safe and secure. Like I probably would have been a lot more safe and secure having just built the business that I was starting, getting 10, 15 consistent clients instead of going back to, well, what became misery after those first 3 weeks.
So you lasted 3 weeks.
Well, I stuck around for 6 months, but my stoke was, it lasted for about 3 weeks and I kind
Yeah.
of faked it for 3 or 4 months and
Yeah.
managed to get into some high performance cycles, but just couldn't stay in my flow state where I was happy with my work, feeling like I was working on epic projects, really stoked on the brand, which
Yeah.
I mean, I discovered some stuff that we won't dive into today about corporate, but
Yeah.
yeah, man, 3 weeks. And I was starting to question why the hell I went back to what I had left six
Yeah.
months prior. So
Well, that's funny because I say you lasted 3 weeks and then you're like, yeah, but I was there for 6 months. And it was like, no, you lasted 3 weeks. Your body like showed up to the work for 6 months, but you were out. The soul was checked out after 3 weeks. And when that happens, right? When we go into something and, oh, maybe this is what I wanted. And then you go into decline, and 3 weeks later you go, holy crap, I definitely don't want to do this. And you're checked out, but you were still there for 5 more months in a week, right? The body, physical body was there. What starts happening? Like what started happening to the way that you started thinking about yourself and your self-worth and the feelings that you started experiencing and your habits? Like what started to shift for you? Was it negative, or was it?
I mean, it was horrifying.
Yeah.
We'll talk about career burnout in another episode. But if you were to go look at all the symptoms of career burnout, I mean, the chronic symptoms, the bad ones, depression, anxiety, stress through the roof. Like you can feel the tension in your body when you go to work in the morning, lethargy when your alarm goes off, with no desire, no motivation, no inspiration to pop out of bed and actually go do what you're doing. And when I started to have less stoked to go do the things that I love doing, like I'd go skateboard and ride vert, go mountain biking, having less stoke about the ski season ahead, just knowing that I was going to be trapped in this 9 to 5 cubicle job. Uh, it was terrible, Mike. And when I look back now at all the work that we've done at Peak Prosper here, and my obsession with learning psychology and personal development, I realize now that what I was stuck in was what I call a negative feedback loop from hell. And I mean, it literally is a feedback loop that people get stuck in because they're programming from the past. In my case, belief that a corporate job was safe and secure and supported my lifestyle and my dreams and my desires, and it was exactly what I wanted, was old past programming that was not actually in alignment with what my soul really desired. So when I continued to act in alignment with what I didn't want, showing up to the job that I didn't want, doing the things I didn't want to do each day, it created this internal disgust and just feeling like I'm trapped, man. The worst part of all of it is I had no clear plan that would take me down a different path. I didn't have a clear vision in regards to what it would look like if I left the job that I was miserable in, which I believe just fed that cycle of being stuck in what was safe and secure.
Yeah, I think it's important to note that safety and security is an illusion. It's not a real thing. And purely this, that what one person views as safe and secure, another person views as dangerous, right? So when you buy into that belief, it's not really your belief that came up with that, but rather something that you've heard that's been passed around. I mean, I still hear people say that even after COVID, right? And it's like, there's no such thing. I mean, if you are in a job that someone owns your paycheck, they're the one writing your paycheck, you are not in control. And that's no insult to anyone that is working for someone at all, but just really the understanding that safety and security is something that is built from within, right? That's really confidence at the end of the day. So you started to realize that you were in a feedback loop. What did that do to like your self-esteem? And I mean, did that take a hit too? Like, was that challenging to kind of overcome and make you questioning if you could ever become an entrepreneur and stuff like that, Scott?
Sure. I mean, it led to questioning everything. It also led to some weight gain. I think I put on like 10 or 15 pounds just because I wasn't.
I really would not have thought that, dude. When I walked out of the airport in Whitefish, like back when I came to visit you in winter, I was like, I just couldn't picture you like being 20 pounds heavier. So that's funny.
No, I hardly could either, but that's what happened, right? Like the stress and the being stuck in a negative lifestyle and in an environment that perceptually wasn't right for me, and just feeling like I didn't fit in. It had a catastrophic effect on my self-esteem, my confidence, my self-worth, and the belief that I had the courage, energy, and drive to even put my hand up and say I'm somewhere I don't want to be, and talk to my boss and say those kinds of things. I remember when went and gave my notice that I'd be leaving in 2 weeks, and I was so scared. I was so scared of uh, being judged by the person that hired me. I was so scared of what the hell I was going to do next, even though I had some certainty in regards to what I was going to be doing. And I really just felt like I was stuck in this state of fear. And it was fear of the unknown, fear of financial failure, fear that if I tried my consulting thing again, that I was going to fail.
And how long ago was that when you left Dakine?
Oh man. I think that was 4 years ago. That was at least 4 years ago now. And here I
Four
am.
years
I'm doing
ago.
just fine.
4 years ago, and you've built a six-figure biz. You're working what, 5-6 hours a day. You've got married a beautiful woman. Alex is a great chick, and you're skiing, you're mountain biking. I mean, you're living in a beautiful house. I don't know how you landed that house, to be honest with you, but beautiful house back in the mountains in the woods. Right? Was it worth it?
Mike, the whole journey was worth it. And I wish that nobody had to go through what I went through, but oftentimes we all have to go through a point of experiencing so much pain in our profession or a certain area of our lives that outweighs our perceived pain of change. And I wish that it was easier for me than going back and working in corporate again, that I would have just stuck to my guns and continued to build my brand that I was building at the time. But that just wasn't the truth. And the reality of what I've gone through now over the last 4 years is it's been hard, but it's also been some of the most rewarding and fulfilling and amazing times of my life. I met my dream partner, an amazing woman that was in perfect alignment with my vision. I've built Peak Prosper with you now, Mike, and it's crazy. I sent a message off to my first life coach the other day. Her name was Ruth from Bend, Oregon, just an amazing lady. And I said, Ruth, I hired her right about the time I quit Dakine. I said, Ruth, this whole vision we created for Peak Prosper years ago, like we were talking about building a platform and a community and an online course and impacting tons of people all over the world. Ruth, it's happening. It's happening. And I mean, I've kind of gone off on a tangent here, but the point here is when you have a vision, if it's clear enough and you have a strong enough reason to turn that vision into a reality, then I believe we have the intrinsic energy that's necessary to start taking different actions. So,
Yes, it's true. Because I mean, ultimately, you're just going to you're going to get what you believe you deserve, anyways. Like, I mean, when I was thinking back to the restaurant, like when I was dealing with like self-worth related stuff. I mean, I just got what I believed I was worth, like $4,000 a month, right? I mean, obviously, like I've got a vision for, like I'm not like looking to be like $50 million a year or anything like that, right? But financial freedom is something that's important to me, and obviously a lot of the guys in the program as well. And it's creating that vision, like you said, and then getting that internal reason why, so it makes sense, right? So that's beautiful, man. So if it's one thing actually I caught right there when you were saying sometimes it has to be like painful enough for us to change, and that's really the case like 99% of the time. And I was saying on the last episode, except for a very select few of people that like have the foresight to see the potential pain that's coming, like, which is why like health insurance sells so well, because you're not actually dealing with the pain right then. It's like you're seeing it in the future potentially happen. That's why you buy it. We had two guys join the program last week. One guy's, boat, like yachts, boats, world travel. Like he's got a great story. And the other guy's a mountain runner, backcountry skier, right? And both of those guys were not in a super painful situation like me and you have both been in the past, but they had the foresight to see the potential pain because they're working in jobs that are like, this is not ultimately what I want. And I want to figure out what I want now so I can start working towards it. Of course, it was having some negative impact, right? But I always thought that was really interesting to me because Scott, I always feel like, well, at least for me and you, like it got to a point where it was like really pretty heavy duty. So
terrible,
this
right?
this episode is, I think, really beneficial for someone that maybe you're not to the point that Scott was in, as you hear on this episode here, but just understanding the consequences,
Mm. Yeah, and having the foresight to look ahead. There's an amazing book by Spencer Johnson called The Present. And I believe so deeply in living from the present moment, but also using the past to learn in the present, and also in the present looking forward to the future to see where things are going based on past actions that we've taken. And sometimes just taking the time to look at what you did yesterday and last week and last month that brought you to this present time moment will help you see the path that you're heading towards in the future. And if you don't like the future destination that you're headed towards, again, because of the actions and the thoughts that you've had a minute ago, an hour ago, a day ago that brought you to the present, it might be time to consider some change and trying something a little different.
For sure. And if someone is looking for that, where should we send them?
Sure. So after listening to today's episode, I think that what you might consider doing is booking a call with myself or Mike. We're open for enrollment in our 2.0 men's transformation program. And if you'd like to connect with us and just talk a little bit more about where you're at and see if Peak Prosper is a good fit for helping you, we'd be so stoked to schedule a call. We'll drop a link to our call booking page just below. And also we have a free online mini course called Find Meaningful Work. If you want to check that out, we'll include a link in the show notes. So
beautiful stuff. Thanks for sharing your story, Scott. We really took a dive into the decline element there, which was really cool. I mean, it's so crazy to think back 4 years, but man, where you're at now is
back into the world of corporate work, which is in total misalignment with my beliefs and values. So I'm stoked to record this episode with you today, Mike. And until next time, we'll see you guys on the next show.
Thanks for tuning into this one, guys. We'll see you on the next one. Peace.